Finally, the moment everybody's been waiting for. The behind the book about Memories of Chronosalis. So, Memories of Chronosalis is my pride and joy. This book is based on the Amber Oak series. You see, about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, I had this epiphany. I remember saying to my parents one day, I need to redo Amber Oak, and I'm pretty sure I put them in shock because I had been working on Amber Oak since I was like really little. I was 12, and I came to that point where I said it's not where I want it to be. It can be better, and I think that was one of my growing moments that I realized as a writer I can always do better. I think that goes for really anybody who's writing or doing any kind of art. And so what I did, it was a very long process. It took me about 2.5 years to do to finally get it to where I was satisfied. And it started out that I wanted to keep it a series. So I'm like, well, let's stick with what I know. Kind of like that. So I started with the series. I kept going, but it was almost too short. Like it could condense it more. So I went from a series, and then I'm like, well, trilogies are popular, let's do a trilogy. So I did a trilogy, and it still wasn't right. And even though I had a few friends say, well, keep it a trilogy, just expand it, it was like the characters were telling me, no, make it one epic book. And so I did that. And that's how the evolution of it came to be. And it was very challenging. This book is the closest one to my heart as I've spent so long with it. And the characters, a lot of them are still the same. Like the recent book I did a behind the book on was Master of Illusions, and that book itself had almost all of the characters in Memories of Chronosalis, but in Memories of Chronosalis, their characters did a 180, like completely different. And I think I might have touched on that earlier, but they've gone through so many revisions. Like it seems like with every single transition from the trilogy to from all of that, it seemed like every time I did that, the characters changed. And there was a lot of them I didn't want to change. I'm like, let's keep it as is because it's perfect, but I realized I had too many villains and not enough heroes. So it was a very long process, but I'm glad I stuck with it because it turned out really, really well. And currently, I'm actually in the process of doing the prequel for it, and what that's going to be about is kind of behind the scenes, what really happened, and it's more of a background to the characters, and it's going to be written from one of the characters' perspectives, so that's going to be really, really exciting. But that's kind of where it all came, and at this point, with Memories of Chronosalis, I not only knew I could do better as a writer, but do better as an author and promoting my work. And it was go big or go home, in my personal opinion. So I went all out. I hired somebody to actually do the cover, and that was worth every penny because they did such a great job. I didn't even know what I wanted for the cover. I'm like, this is kind of what the book's about. Let's see what happens. And it's been such a wonderful journey, and one that will stay with me for a lifetime because it was a changing point in my life, and as a writer and as a person. So that's all I have for published books at the moment. This is the last as of right now. This is the last behind the book, but I have plenty more books in the future that I plan to write, and plenty more that I can tell you about. So stay tuned for more.